I am delighted to get started on our webinar this morning, Morocco Land of the Enchantment. This is a program that we're going to be doing next spring, March 18th to April 1st, 2024. As many of you will know, as I expect there's a few of you on our webinar today who perhaps tried to get on our Morocco program this coming fall, but of course it sold out faster than I even could imagine. And so we are delighted to have worked together with Fatima and her team to get another program ready for next spring. And this is what we're going to be presenting to you today. Let me say a few brief words about Wheel and Anchor before we get into the webinar itself. And I'll keep it brief because I know a lot of you are regulars. We are a community of travelers from all across Canada. What does that mean? Well, I've been organizing trips for Canadians for well over 30 years now. And what I've really noticed, and in fact, I'm here in South Italy on the Amalfi Coast with a number of members, and this is a very touristy part of Italy for those of you who've been down here, and we can't help but to notice tour groups sort of parading around like a bunch of robots in a line, and as opposed to the way that we go around and interact. And, it's more like a bunch of friends having fun, kind of going away from where possible, where the tourists are, and, looking around the back alleys and eating at restaurants that are not in the center of the tourist crowd, but trying to get a little bit underneath the ordinary view that most tourists have of a lot of places. And it's not always easy, but the fact that we strive for that is kind of the mission that we have at Wheel and Anchor, and that's what brings us as travelers together. And I if you've read some of our material, some of the blogs that we've written, we really try to distinguish tourist from traveler. We want to be travelers. We want to have that sense of adventure and excitement and going a little bit beyond, but also at a slower pace. And this is one of the things that differentiates us at Wheel and Anchor in our approach to travel, is that we want everybody. My goal, it's my mission in life, is that people get a chance to be well traveled and experience the world through another set of eyes and at a slow pace. Which is kind of the philosophy that we share, and even in this program, which falls under our experiential category, which means that we are on a sightseeing tour, we are going from place to place, but we're trying to spend 3 nights, 4 nights, where possible. It's not always possible, or doesn't always make a lot of sense. But that's kind of the way that we look at things, is slowing everything down a little bit so that you could just sort of stop and soak it all in. And you develop a certain connection as well with the people that you travel with, as well as the people that you meet along the way. That's a little bit of the philosophy of Wheel and Anchor. So thank you for indulging me in that. So just briefly introducing the team. My name is Gordon. I'm the founder of Wheel and Anchor. And I am delighted to be able to be in a position to put some really amazing trips around the world together, and couldn't do it without the support of my team, particularly Paula and Barb. Barb is joining us today in the middle box, one of our trip specialists who is there to facilitate these amazing trips and get you all signed up and all your questions answered about everything that we do. And our special guest today, Fatima Sahara from Morocco. Fatima, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. It's with pleasure. And I'm delighted to be with you today. And I'm very pleased to present Morocco for our audience.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And Fatima and her team have been really instrumental. I've had the pleasure of traveling to Morocco before, but not as extensively as we're going to be doing in this program. And also my colleague Alfie was one of our hosts. Some of you will be familiar with, was in Morocco last year and met with you and Fatima and your team in your office last year, and was really delighted and excited about what it is that we're doing here today. So we are going to take you through a little journey up in the northwestern part of Africa to this country of Morocco it has a lot of allure. And as I was sort of describing in our newsletter last week, it's one of those places that people kind of want to go, but a lot of people don't exactly know why they want to go. You've heard a little bit about, the the Arabic nature of it, the influence. Maybe we've heard about the souks, and we've had chicken tagine, or you've had the famous Moroccan mint tea, but it's hard to put your finger on. And I know that obviously some of our members are, perhaps much more schooled and educated on all of the amazing things that Morocco has to offer. But today we're going to give you a little taste of that through this webinar, and to have you understand what it is that we're going to be doing on this trip next March. So without further ado, and I'm going to try to let Fatima do as much of the talking as possible, because she's the one that obviously knows her country much better than I. First of all, as per normal, I'm going to give you the quick geography lesson on Morocco and where we're going on this particular itinerary. As you know, Morocco, as you can see from the map, up in the northwest corner of the African continent, and at the very tip, Tangier, of course, just across the Gibraltar Strait from Spain and Europe. So we start in Casablanca, which is the largest city. We're not going to spend a lot of time there, and we'll explain that in a minute. But we're from Casablanca, we're going to travel overland up the west coast to Tangier, which again sits on the Straits of Gibraltar. We'll spend a couple of nights in there, and then travel over the Rif Mountains. So one of two major mountain ranges in Morocco, via Chefchaouen, and pardon my pronunciation of the towns, Fatima, and then we'll go to the famous town of Fez, in the foothills of the Atlas Mountains. From there down across the Atlas Mountain range to Merzouga, which is close to the border to Algeria, here in the Sahara Desert, where we'll have an incredible experience in the desert. And then back over the Atlas Mountains, stopping overnight in Daresh, and then making our way to Marrakech, which I'm personally familiar with and absolutely loved when I visited it some years back. And that will be where we spend the last few nights of our trip before making our way back to Casablanca and home. So let's look at this in a little bit more depth day by day, as to what all this entails. And so we're going to be flying, as I say, over to Casablanca. We're fortunate that Air Canada has direct flights between Montreal and Casablanca. So depending on where it is that you're coming from in Canada, you can also connect via other gateways in Europe. But the fact that we have a direct flight from Canada to Morocco is a big bonus. So I imagine a lot of people will be doing that. I know our members that are going this fall are largely traveling from Morocco right into Casablanca. And then you'll come into this city, and we're going to, pick you up at to the airport and bring you to this wonderful hotel, a 5-star hotel, where we're going to be spending just one night before we head out. But we're going to take a little bit of time to visit Casablanca and the highlights. And Fatima, you and I were just talking a bit about Casablanca. Tourists don't spend a lot of time here, but there are some key things that we're going to see. And perhaps you could share a little bit about what we might expect to see in Casablanca.
Yes, for the main places to see in Casablanca is the first thing is Hassan II Mosque. So it's the highest mosque in Africa. So then there is the old Medina. We call it Medina. It means the old city. In each
the old city. Most
old city.
Most cities have a Medina. Is that correct?
The ancient city. And inside it there are some traditional shops, some traditional aircrafts to be sold. So it's one of the most things to see in Casablanca.
Exactly. And so you probably won't spend more than a morning there, but you'll at least get a sense of the Medina, which would be the most, and of course the Hassan II Mosque.
Yes.
Highlights. And from there, we're going to travel overland. We're going to go all the way up to Tangier. And I wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk about our accommodations, because other than the first night when we're going to stay in a lovely 5-star hotel, most of the accommodations on our trip, and again, in the Sahara, we're going to be staying in a wonderful desert camp, so in tents. I mean, these are more than just your average tent, but otherwise, we've gone out of our way to find and source Moroccan riads. And so a riad is kind of like a palace. It's like a family palace, is it not? How would you describe it?
Normally, it's a palace. It's a big house with normally it used to be for the whole family. The large family live in it. So the grandparents, the grandchildren. So and inside the riad there is a patio, and on the top you can find just birds tweeting in the sky, and with trees inside it. And sometimes you can find a pool, a swimming pool inside the riad. So it's a very traditional accommodation. So it's worth to stay in it, and it's really unique. It's a unique experience to have.
It's unique, and my own experience from riads is that, I mean, it's obviously a hotel because they have converted all these all of the family rooms into guest rooms. But you know, as you say, I think what differentiates the riads is the fact that they're all going around a central garden or a sort of a central square, which often in some cases serves as like the dining room or some form of a common area. Is that right?
Yes, yes, it is. Actually, it is. It's totally different from the hotel. So you know, when when you stay in the Riyadh, you feel like you are with the family. So you are not a client as in the hotel. So you feel like you are in a house with family, with the patio, with the traditional rooms. So it's a very nice experience.
Exactly. And in fact, most of the riads that we have, I think, in this program are around no more than about 10 rooms per riad. Is that about right?
Normally, areas don't have so many rooms. You
Oh,
know,
not even.
so many no, because it's limited the number of rooms in the riads. So the capacity is not really high.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a
Yeah.
very intimate experience being in the riads, and in a couple of places we're actually in more than one, because again, you have a very intimate style of accommodation. This, as far as I'm concerned, is the only way to stay in Morocco, because these are the traditional homes of you know, of the royalty or of the noble families and so on. They all lived in the riad. So it when you stay in a riad versus staying in a conventional hotel, you just feel like you're in Morocco. So this is why, as I say, we've taken great pains to source out riads in each of the stops along the way, with the exception of Casablanca and the desert, of course. But certainly in Marrakech, in Fez, and so on, we're going to be staying in some wonderful, wonderful accommodations. So let's talk a little bit more about Tangier. And of course, this is sort of like the gateway to Europe. And so I know there's a couple of highlights that we're going to see in there. Maybe you could share with us, Fatima, what we can expect from Tangier.
Yes, as you told now, so as you said, Tangier is in the north of Morocco, and it's really it's really not too far from Europe. So it has, which makes it really cosmopolitan. So it's a really nice city to see. And one of some of the highlights that that it's a must to see is the Cap Spartel. It's a little bit far from Tangier, but it's really a very nice place where the two Mediterranean Sea, Mediterranean Ocean and Atlantic Ocean and Mediterranean Sea, they converge, and it has a wonderful view over the sea. And also you can see from that point, you can see the Strait of Gibraltar. And also one of
Yeah.
the most highlights that it's a must to see is Hercules Caves. It's a legendary caves. It has a magnificent fissure overlooking the ocean, and also it's a nice highlight of Tangier. Also, there is
Absolutely.
the Grand
Yeah.
Soukou. The Grand
Yeah.
Soukou is the big market in big souk. We call market, it's a souk. So it's a big souk of Tangier. It's traditional. It's a very nice to see also, and it's the dynamic commercial heart of Tangier. So
And
that's the highlights.
yeah, I also understand there's a little souk or a little soko, which is an area that used to be famous for a bunch of artists. Is that right?
Yes, it is. Yes, just down down the hill. you are going to see the little souks. So it's also a must to see in Tangier.
It's an absolute must see. I mean, you had people like Matisse that stayed there, and Sen and some very, very famous artists. So again, this is a little bit, you get the big souk, and then little souk, little souk. So after we spend a whole day or a day actually looking around Tangier, we're then going to head south over these Rif Mountains, and along the way we come to this town of Chefchaouen. And I've heard a lot about this. I haven't been there myself, but I'm really excited about it. And why is it that you suggested we make a stop there?
Chefchaouen, it is called the Blue City of Morocco. It's really in the top of mountains, and it's all the streets in the Chefchaouen. It's just like a hill, like going in a hill. So it's a very nice streets. It's very blue, with blue color, where you are very welcomed, and the people there are very welcomed. So you are going to enjoy it so much. It's a really nice
and
experience.
This is really rural in the sense that it's kind of like a trading place, isn't it? I understand that the women, well, not just women, but traders come out of the mountains to trade their goods. So we'll see some of that very local activity there. Yeah.
Yes, they bring their what they have cultivated in their fields, and just to bring it in the Medina of Chefchaouen and sell it to people. So it's very nice, especially women.
Especially women, and I think that's what very experience is, that you see that who knows where the men are. They're probably off sleeping somewhere, but the women are the one out there actively
commercial
selling.
Yeah.
And we're going to have lunch as well at a special organic lunch out up in the mountains at this Dardara farm, as I understand it, which is going to give us a real taste of a very local cuisine. Is that right?
Yes, it's Dardara farm. It's an organic farm where you can have organic food as well. Everything they prepare it for dishes, they have it in their fields. So everything is organic. It's very nice. You will have a very nice lunch there. So, and you are going to enjoy it for sure.
Exactly. And then perhaps a snooze on their way for the rest of the journey down into Fez, where we will arrive the following day. Sorry, I didn't switch the slide quickly there enough, but you get a taste of the famous blue town of Morocco, Chefchaouen. In the evening, then we will pull into Fez, and the following day wake up into this amazing city that dates back. Well, it dates back a long way, but I know that the Medina there, I think itself is already something like 600 years old. And so Fez is really a must on anyone's tour of Morocco. What are the highlights of Fez that we can expect from that?
As you said, Fez is one of the highlights of Morocco. It's the spiritual capital of Morocco. And the most highlights is the Medina, the souks. When you go and just exploring the souks, you are going to enjoy the visit of the madrasas. And madrasa, it's an Arabic word for school. It's a madrasa. So it's an old Quranic schools in Fez. You are going to visit. Also, there is the tannery, where you are going to also to visit the tanneries, and are going to see just going through the streets of the Medina. You are going to see the handicrafts, each different handicrafts, from wood handicrafts. It's nice to see.
And I'll tell you, I know from my own experience, I couldn't get away without picking up a number of different things when I was there, because just the quality, the beauty of these different, particularly wood things that are created, but also fabrics and so much amazing stuff. But Fez is also about food, and I understand that Fez is considered the food capital of Morocco, even if it's not the official capital, since It ceased being the capital about 100 years ago. We're going to eat in the Fassi manner with a local Moroccan family. Is that right?
Yes, a fussy way. Yes, maybe you are asking what does it mean, a fussy way? So it means, people from Fes, we call them Fassi. For example, people from Marrakech, we call them Marrakchi. So you are going to, in Fes, you are going to have a fussy lunch with the family. You are going to enjoy and share lunch with the family in Fes. So we are going to have lunch cooked in a fancy way. So they have their special and their own way of cooking. So we are going to taste it.
I think it's going to be phenomenal. I know that whenever we have these meals where we come together with a local family, it's always very special. And there's some great moments because beyond the food, you also get to connect with the people at a very local level, and it's always over a meal that is the way to do that. So it's very much in keeping with our philosophy. We have a whole day, actually, a free day in Fez to explore on one's own. But I'm sure some people might have the question: how safe is it? I mean, we don't know a lot about Morocco and the crime and so on. Is it a big problem? Can you just wander around town without too much worry? I mean, of course, you have to be mindful in any big city, but what's the experience like of being out on your own and exploring?
You can walk, or you can just walk in the streets in Fes. It's without any problem. You can have a stroll in the streets and discover some places maybe yourselves. So it's really safe. You don't have anything to worry about, and you can return back to your riad safely. So you can enjoy it.
Exactly. I think it's
Or also, yes, and also you can have enjoy a tea or a drink in the rooftop of the riad you are going to. So that's it.
this is one of the traditions, and I'm sure we won't wait until we get to Fez to do it. But for me, one of the wonderful traditions of Morocco is the mint tea, thé à la menthe, and served in large little pots, and they pour it from about a meter above the cup, and it's
To have bubbles.
it's just
To have bubbles.
to have bubbles. And I tell you, the tea, just the aroma and the flavor and that is just incredible. And so we are going to give you a number of different ideas to do in Fez, but you may want to just sit on the rooftop of your riad and look out over the city, or visit again the tannery that Fatima was referring to. They have an amazing Jewish quarter. They have a fundouk, which is used to be like a caravanserai, which is like a trader's hotel that they would come in while they were going through town. Obviously, a lot of nomadic peoples came through here, through desert and this part of Morocco. Again, it just oozes with history and charm. We are going to continue our journey south from here, and this is where we're going to head over the northern part of the Atlas map into the Sahara Desert. And I know I'm super excited for the stay in Merzouga in the desert. What is this like? I mean, we've picked out this one of the top Sahara Desert camps here, and I know people are really anxious to know what's it like to live out in the desert as nomads did.
Yes, it's an experience like nomads. You are going to spend the night in the tents under the stars, and the desert camp is just you cannot see it when you are going in the dunes in the Sahara. Just you go, then you have it just
It just appears out of nowhere, like a mirage.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, just in the middle of nowhere. And once you are in the desert, you are going to have a camel ride just to have to assist and to enjoy the sunset. It's really amazing, and also the experience of having a camel there is really authentic, and it's really good to have a good experience. Then you have the after having dinner, you are going to enjoy traditional music, Moroccan music, just in the fire, just around the campfire.
And so, as you can sort of get a sense of by the pictures here, I mean, this is not just setting up a tent in the desert. This is really sort of the pinnacle of luxury. We'll eat, I guess, literally outside under the stars, just like we see here. Is that right?
And normally it depends on the weather.
Obviously.
So yes, and depends. It has a restaurant. Yeah, it has a restaurant. So it should be in the restaurant, and otherwise it could be outside the camp.
So either whether you're outside or inside, as you can see here, it's going to be a magical experience. You're super well looked after, and with some Morocco music to wind out the evening, it'll be something that's, I think, very memorable. The accommodations, it goes without saying. I mean, this is a tent. I think we'd all stay probably for the rest of our lives in a tent if they looked something like this. It's super cozy. So we'll be there for 2 whole nights, and we'll get to spend a whole day exploring the Sahara Desert. And I think we're even going to have a chance to take a camel ride for those that wish.
Yes, you will have a camel ride. Then you will have a tour by 4x4 in the desert. So you can have in the morning, the next day in the morning, you are going to have the sunrise by camel ride. Then after that, you have breakfast, and then you have a tour with 4x4. So you are going to enjoy it.
You're going to enjoy it. This is going to be incredible. There's
sure, yes.
Nothing else I can say about that. Coming out of the desert, then we head back over the Atlas Mountains as we make our way towards Marrakech. And the Atlas Mountains are quite, I mean, they're high enough that there's snow up there. In fact, I think there's ski resorts in Morocco, if my memory serves me correctly.
Yes, there are some ski stations in Morocco, and there are, we can say, 2 famous ones. There's the one in Ifrane. Ifrane is a city just near Fez. It's not too far from Fez. And also there is the ski station in Marrakech. It's called Okamdel. It's really very nice for the people who love skiing. It's really nice. It's about 70 kilometers far away from Marrakech.
From Marrakech. So if anybody's dying to go skiing in Morocco, I don't think that's probably on most people's agenda, but you know, you never know, we might be able to arrange it. But on our way over the mountains, we pass through Todra Gorge on our way to Todra. And so
Gorge.
This gorge as well is quite a wonder in and of itself, right? What does it look like here?
It's rocky mountains, just very high, and just in the middle there is a river going through the mountains. So it's really a very nice place it's very calm, it's very nice, and for hikers, for people who love trekking, it's also very nice for them.
So so with the river going through the middle, it's almost like a little bit of an oasis, if you will, as you pass through this gorge. Is that right?
Yes, yeah.
And so we will stay over for a night in Gadish, and from there we continue on our way again towards Marrakech, with a stop at Ait Ben Haddou, which is a kasbah. It won't be the first kasbah that we've seen, and I think again we've all heard the term kasbah. Could you explain what it is that is a kasbah and what makes Ben Haddou a particularly interesting one to visit?
Yes. You know, all the way from Dadas to Ait Ben Haddou, we call it the 1001 kasbah way. So it's very full of kasbahs, and Ait Ben Haddou is one of the famous one in the outskirts of Ouarzazate, of the city of Ouarzazate, and it's the 16th century UNESCO site. It's very interesting to see. And kasbah also, it means qasr, it means palace, an old palace made by mud. It's
the whole thing was built out of mud.
Just mud, yes, and it gathers all the people and all the family inside it. And also, Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say it's from the one that I've seen, not far from Marrakech. It's an amazing experience, and I know that this particular one at Ben Hadou, way up in the mountains, is just talk about a photographic site. It's going to be terrific. We continue then over the mountains, ending up in Marrakech, where we'll spend the last 4 nights of our trip. And Marrakech for me has a very special place in my heart. I remember being there a number of years ago, and the souks and the markets and the vendors and the snake charmers in the middle of town, just fantastic. What else? What are some of the things that we're going to be doing as we spend some time in Marrakech? We have free time, but we also have a number of organized programming for our guests.
Yes, you have a day trip just in an excursion inside Marrakech. It's just full of hustle and bustle of life, and the medieval marketplace. Also, you are going to have a very special visit to traditional. You are going to discover the way of life of Moroccan, and especially Marrakechi people, the people who live in Marrakech. You are going to see the mosaic fountain just inside the Medina. You are going to visit fondok, like the one you are going to visit in Fez, where the traders meet just to exchange their goods. Okay. Also, you are going to visit Fornaci. Fornaci, it's a traditional oven in each neighborhood in Marrakech. It has a Fornaci. It's a traditional oven where people just take their bread to be cooked, or to have pastries to be cooked in there. You are going to smell it in the street.
Amazing. Yeah. I have a vivid memory of Marrakech when I was there, and I think it was in the autumn, and it was the time of the year when they take all of the sheep and the lambs, and they eat them. So this takes place in it's like our Thanksgiving, I think, a little bit.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're not going at that time of the year, but I will never forget, and excuse the vivid imagery, but I remember walking through the streets of Marrakech with sheep carcasses everywhere throughout the street.
Yeah.
And it's like their Thanksgiving, and that the tradition is to slaughter your sheep, and you take it, and then you eat it fresh at home with family, and a very, very vivid memory. That's at a different time of the year. We're not going to be doing that, but this is the real life that you get from a place like Marrakech. I mean, it's obviously become popular with tourists, so it's not like we're going to be the only ones there, but at the same time, you can't help but be taken with the city and the environs that we're going to visit. We're going to do a bit of a cooking class as well, outside of town, apparently. Yeah.
Yes, you are going to do a cooking class with Chef Tariq. So he's a chef. It's a really nice experience. So you are going to prepare your dish yourself. Then you are going to eat it. So just try to just to pay attention and do it as much as you can. And of course, you are going to prepare very delicious tagines for sure.
Yeah, tagine. So that was just, if you are familiar with the tagine, this is a traditional Moroccan tagine, this triangular shaped
yes.
And this is one of my favorite dishes anywhere. Lemon chicken tagine. Oh my God, I can just taste it right now. It's so amazing. And of course, we'll definitely have plenty of free time, a whole day dedicated to exploring on your own. And this is the best way to uncover all of the secrets, if you will, of Marrakech, because once you take a glimpse of the souks, and we'll introduce it on our tour, you're just going to want to go back and just wander, and the smells and the colors, it's absolutely overwhelming. I mean, this is a city that once you visited once, there's a good chance that you're going to want to go back. So as I say, you'll have a good 3 solid days in Marrakech. We have a wonderful riads that we have sourced on this. that are going to make it an incredible stay. And as I say, I can well imagine that you're probably going to want to would want to have stayed longer, but hey, there's always a second time. We end our trip by transferring back up to the north, back to Casablanca, where we'll spend a final night and once again get a chance to look. This is an amazing shot of that Hassan II mosque that Casablanca is so famous for. And from here, it's back home to Canada. Yeah, after 2 weeks, you will have had an incredible experience of Morocco. So I appreciate, Fatima, you giving us a little bit of a taste of what to expect. I'm going to cover a couple of the details here. Of course, you're going to be getting, with the replay of this itinerary, a copy of our program itinerary that's going to give you all the details. And we do take pride in trying to give you as much information as possible for our trips. The tour again is going to happen from March 18th to April the 1st of 2024. So just about a year from now. And you can see the Canadian dollar pricing here, which of course includes all the transportation that we described. So we're doing a circuit around the whole northern half of the country, 12 nights of accommodation in riads, or the hotels, as I mentioned, as I specified in Casablanca at the beginning and the end, but otherwise it's pretty much all riads. And then of course those 2 nights in the luxury desert camp in Merzouga, and with breakfast every day. We have at least one other meal every other day. When you're out in the desert, of course, we're going to feed you amply all day and all night because there's no other place to walk to get a snack. And of course, we're going to have our local host, and fully guided throughout. And as per usual, pretty much everything other than your airfare and insurance, which we will happily arrange for you through our a new air desk. We'll be able to sort you out to be able to get over there. And so looking at pricing, just so you get a sense of what the overall thing is going to come in at. For our members who've traveled this fall, this is kind of the price range that people have been able to secure airfare for. So you get a sense of what, again, the overall price is going to be. And for those of you who jump on board early, before July the 15th, and again, our last trips sold out quite quickly, but we are offering an early booking bonus. This is a consistent theme that we're doing now, because in working with our team like Fatima, the earlier that we can secure the hotels, we can get a little bit better, a bit better deal. So if you sign up early for this trip, you can have an additional $500 off. And for this trip, it's by July the 15th. And now it's time to answer any questions about this program. But if you think about something after the webinar is over, please do drop Paula or Barb a message, ideally by email. Of course, you can try to call, but I know the phones have been fairly busy of late. So email is a good way to get questions answered. We are never far away from Fatima and her team in Morocco. For some reason, there's something that we can't answer for you. But for the meantime, Barb, do we have any member questions?
Yeah, there's a few that have come in. So there seems to be lots of great food on this trip. How well can dietary requirements be accommodated if people are gluten intolerant? Is that something that can easily be catered for?
Fatima, could you answer that?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you just repeat it? Sorry.
Yeah, the question's about dietary restrictions. So if people, we do have some members who might be gluten intolerant or other things. I think it's pretty much okay. Yeah. Yes,
it's okay. Just mention that to us, and we are going to inform the restaurants and inform all the hotels about that, and there will be no problem. It's okay.
Yeah, okay, excellent. Yeah, they can just mention, we have a section on our booking form, so they can indicate there, and we'll pass all that information on. There is another question in regards to the tented safaris, if they're similar to the double-walled tents in Australia or perhaps Africa. There was a good picture of it. So it's a double-walled canvas tent.
Yeah, so do the tents have 2 walls to them? Like, in other words, an inner and an outer layer?
It's only tents. There are no walls in the tent.
But do the walls have 2 layers of canvas Do you know that? Like, I know that in Australia, in some places, they have like 2 sheets of canvas. Anyway, I would say we'll double.
You know, it will be a private tent with a private bathroom, and that's it. So it can be double or single as the client's request.
I think Barb will come back to the member on that question and confirm the exact configuration of the tents as to whether they're double walled or not. They're very suitable, very comfortable for staying in the Sahara Desert regardless. So
yes, it is.
Okay, yeah. So another question is just in regards to temperatures and weather at that time of year, and overnight, daytime and overnight.
Yeah, for sure.
Normally,
I think.
Yes,
Yeah, go ahead.
normally in November it's you know, it depends. Maybe it's about in the morning. In the morning it can be about 20 degrees, and in the afternoon it's about 27 degrees. It cannot exceed 30 degrees at all at that period.
Exactly. So
it's cold weather. It's not cold, but it's warm, I think. Yes, it's warm.
For us, that's pretty warm to hot.
Yeah.
I think that in the desert part of the trip, the evenings cool down quite a bit, as I understand it. So the nighttime temperatures could definitely be in the 10 degrees, sort of 15-degree range. Is that fair to say? At night, yes. At night and in early morning, yes. It's about 10 degrees, 10 degrees and also it depends from place to place in Morocco, because, for example, the weather in Marrakech is not the weather in Casablanca and in Tangier and in the desert camps. So it differs from place to place. Exactly. So in the information that we provide, we can give you some indication of what the temperatures that you can expect. There will be definitely variation between Casablanca and Tangier in the north versus what it is in the desert. And so we'll give you some further insight on that. Okay, and then a few members have noted that it is during Ramadan. So is that going to be affected in their overall experience? Normally, Ramadan is not, it won't be at that period. Okay. You are talking about the April period. March 18th to April 1st next year. Today is Ramadan, so it will be finished today, tomorrow or after tomorrow. So at that on 2024, it will be Ramadan in the beginning of April. It's the early April. Okay. I think people. But it won't affect the tour at all. No. Okay, perfect. Somebody else has asked about currency, and if you can talk about the currency and also maybe the WISE card that we sometimes speak about. Yeah. The currency is Moroccan dirham. Yep. The currency is Moroccan dirham. I mean, Morocco is a place that when you get into these smaller cities or even the bigger cities, and if you want to shop in the souks and so on, you definitely want to be able to use cash. And so the WISE card, without getting into a lot of detail on it, is what we recommend to members. It's a very versatile way to travel and be able to exchange currencies. And I believe it does accept the Moroccan dirham as well. And it basically acts just like a credit card. But this is a country where you definitely want to have some cash on hand, because I'll tell you, when you get into the souks, there are things that you are going to you're definitely going to want to be able to take home, whether it's a little bag of spices or some fabrics. There's so many cool things to bring with you. Yes. Okay, perfect. And if people wanted to ship something home, if they got a bigger item, do you know how easy it is to mail items overseas? If they make if they want to purchase a rug, or, you know, they're so famous for those sort of things. Yes, normally, for example, if somebody, most of the time, it's the shop who is in charge. For example, if a client would like to have something from the shop, so he is in charge of shipping it to the clients, and we keep in touch with the clients and the owner shop. The shop owner, until the clients get the good or the thing he bought. Okay, great, excellent. Yeah.
Is there any dress restrictions anywhere?
Sorry?
Are there any dress restrictions? Is there any, like in terms of clothing, do they need, is there restrictions in certain places that they go, that they need to have shoulders covered or certain dress restrictions?
I can say just in the mosque, in the visit of Hassan II Mosque, just some scarves for women just to cover, and long shorts, or just and that's it, just in the Hassan II Mosque visit. Apart from this, it's okay. No, there is no restrictions.
Yeah, Morocco is as far as Muslim countries goes, is fairly liberal. So you don't, it's not as you definitely need to dress appropriately in a mosque, shoulders covered, skirt, legs covered, and so on and so forth. But apart from that, it's pretty easygoing. You don't
easygoing. Yes, it's easygoing, no problems. There is no restrictions.
Okay. And then the other question people have is, how big of a group are we taking on this?
They will be the same size as we're doing with our other groups, which are about 17, 18 people, I think, maximum. About it certainly
20.
will not. Yeah, it certainly will not exceed 20. We like to keep our groups for this small. It just makes for a better experience. Just to go back to the Ramadan question, because one of our members, Fran, I did as well, just emailed it. Actually, this program falls right in the middle of Ramadan of next year. And so my experience of being in countries like Morocco during Ramadan is that for foreign visitors, it doesn't really make too much of a difference, but perhaps you could clarify, since this is going to be in the middle of Ramadan next year. Obviously, local people will be observing the rules and fasting during the day and so on, but will that affect our experience at all?
Normally, yes, sorry. So just during the day, everything works as normal. Shops are open. The Medina is open, so everything is as normal. There is no difference. But just in the time of breaking the fast, that makes you cannot find anybody in the streets, or everybody is at home just breaking the fast. Then just after 1 hour, everything returned to normal. So
yeah. So in other words, the streets will be very quiet around sunset when everybody's running home to have a drink of water and
yeah.
have some...
Then just after breaking the fast, everything returned to Marrakech, becomes alive, just like nothing happened.
Yeah. In fact, I think it's always interesting to visit in as I say, Islamic countries during Ramadan, because it adds to the experience, so we understand what the whole experience is all about. But it's not going to affect our travels at all. Another question I see came in, Barb, here about liquor, alcohol. I mean, obviously, again, Islamic country. How is it with ordering alcohol?
Normally, it's provided in the riads or in the hotel. So the clients can have it. It's okay. There is no restriction or nothing. Normally the riads or the hotel where the clients are going to stay in, they provide alcohol. So there is no problem.
Yeah, exactly. So you can again, for foreign visitors, they don't, or the same rules don't apply. And this is, again, quite a liberal country, is what you'll find if you compare it to, let's say Saudi Arabia or Iran or something like that. It's quite different. Yeah, I say I had no issue finding lots of delicious beverages when I was in Morocco the last time.
Yeah. So it's okay. All the accommodations provide this, so it's okay.
Exactly.
Okay, there's one other question, which is, are we going to be offering this one as well in November? Which we are. It's a popular one, so we're doing it twice.
Yeah, we will. It's not going to be open yet for booking for another little while, but we are planning to offer it in November of 2024 as well. And I do see the question came in, going in the spring versus going in the fall. how would you compare the two, Fatima, if traveling it in the end of March versus traveling in November? Is there any difference? What would we expect weather-wise?
You know, the only difference is in weather. Apart from weather, so everything is good.
Right.
For example, in spring, it's really a very nice weather. It's really sunny. It's really spring. So you feel spring in everywhere you go in Morocco. Oh, also the landscapes differs. So you are see the just green. The lands are green. So it's this is the only difference. Apart from this, everything's go smoothly and as programmed as planned.
Yeah, the weather in November is very similar, quite honestly. It's the temperature is sort of in the mid-20s in the day, and it's cooler in the evening, and it's fall. So to the extent that there's you know, they don't have forests so much like we have in Canada, so you don't see fall colors or that kind of thing. But temperature wise, precipitation wise, there's really not a lot of difference.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Any other questions, Barb? I think that pretty much wraps it up.
That's all that's come in. So yeah, they can definitely call or email. That's fine. If people have questions or want to sign up, we're ready to go on this one.
Yep, absolutely. So this one is now officially open. So please do consider joining us to Morocco. I know it's become very popular, and I think that's partly because we have really such an amazing itinerary and great accommodations. It's a fabulous trip. So we hope you'll join us for this trip. Fatima, thank you so much for your insights and your intel direct from Morocco. We really appreciate it, and we're excited to be bringing our members over to visit you in Morocco.
You are very welcome, and I'm very pleased to be with you today. And I'm at your disposal for any further question or any further information. I'm at your disposal.
Fantastic.
I would be very pleased to do so.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much, and I look forward to catching you on our next webinar next week, which will be announced in our newsletter. Thank you, and take care.